Okay, so we have a question with regards to how to create this kind of pendant. Now, when we zoom it out to its actual size, you can see very faintly that the bark on the tree has obviously some texture on it. Something like this isn't really too difficult to do. It's just a case of working in matrix art. So what we're going to do is bring that image in just in the looking down viewport, and we're going to go to our view menu. We're going to use the picture frame tool, and we're just going to select our tree here, and for this I might put my grid snaps on, and I don't quite know how big you want this to be, so I'm going to do it something like that, I guess. And with this, this is actually now a surface, so I'm going to grab my utilities menu and center this particular surface just to F4. Sometimes it makes things just that little bit easier. And then in my layers menu, I'm going to put that onto the gray layer color, and I'm just going to lock that down so that now no matter what I do, I can't pick it up or anything like that. It's pretty important, particularly because we're going to be tracing around this particular tree itself. The circle around the outside, I'm not really going to do anything with that just at this point in time, but what I'm going to concentrate on is the tree. So we're going to open up our curve menu, use the interp curve here, and better turn off grid snap now that we're finished with it. And now it's really just the fun part. It's really just a case of tracing around this particular tree. And what I might do is pause the video while I do this, because this isn't really making riveting watching or viewing. So I will pause the video now and come back to you when I have finished tracing around our tree here. Okay, so now that we've got our tree all traced out, I'm going to select my curve and just put it onto, say, the creation layer just down here, and that's for matrix art purposes. Now, I guess while we're here, we may as well create our circle. I'm just going to create it from F4. I doubt, yeah, that's what I kind of thought. Look, you know what, I might do that later on. Alright, so let's get rid of you. Okay, next thing we're going to do is go into matrix art, and we're going to select our tree and put it into the curves window here. And initially we're going to get this shape here, and the reason for that is the profile is this particular one here. Now, if you I guess if you wanted it kind of rounded, we go into the profiles here and maybe select I don't know, maybe something like that. It might give you a little bit more of an organic feel to it. Even something like that might be even okay, but it kind of is up to you as to the kind of look that you're looking for. Yeah, maybe that bell, that might be good. So let's use that one. And if you wanted to change some aspects of it, we could just easily grab any of these control points and pull them around a little bit. So, for example, if we wanted to do that and kind of, do something like that, it might round it up a little bit more. And we've also got to look at the surface height of the piece, and at the moment the default comes in at 1 mil. Look, it really is up to you as to how thick you want this, but I'm going to take this down to say about 0.5, and this is really only the for the texture side of things. So yeah, I don't know, something like that might do it okay. The other thing that you can do is increase the resolution. At the moment the default comes in at 10. Generally speaking, I'll take this up to about 22, but it does depend on what it is, so maybe keeping it around, say, 16, 17. Make sure you hit update resolution if you are going to change it. And then what we're going to do is move on to the next phase, which is our picture phase. So what we're going to do in the picture phase is we're going to, this is where comes in handy to have a picture or maybe a bitmap of some bark or something along those lines. And I just happen to have one, so I'm going to go into my load bitmap here, and I'm going to pause the video while I try to find it because I can't quite remember where I put it, so just bear with me a moment. Okay, so the bitmap that I want to use is this particular one here, which is just a seamless bitmap of some bark. So I'm going to just double click that. That's going to bring that in here, and it's also going to transfer that pattern onto the matrix art mesh itself. Now the beauty about this is that you can increase or decrease, that mesh to pretty much, however high you'd like it. At the moment, you can't really see much because we're in the looking down viewport, but if you were to go into, say, something like the perspective viewport, you can kind of start to see, okay, well, that's going to, provide a pretty good mesh. And when you mill this up, that's going to look awesome. So, as I said, play around with a mesh. You might even want to, you know, maybe you might just want more of a subtle kind of look. It really is up to you, but I'm going to go with, say, something like that there, about 0.68, 0.7 or so. You can also decrease the, I guess, um, it's late at night. The mesh itself, or the size of the bitmap itself, so you can make it really fine. Don't worry about this look here. We can quite easily come across here and hit tile bitmap, and that'll just fill it up just like that there. So if you wanted something that was a little bit closer together, then maybe that might be a better way to do it. But if you didn't and you're happy with something that's pretty wide, I mean that to me looks like bark. So if you're happy with that, then that's okay. Next step is we're going to go to the effects menu, and here's where we can adjust the contrast. I'm just going to go back into the looking down viewport. Where are we? Okay, let's have a look at the bitmap attributes. So if we go into the low end, you can kind of adjust that up a little bit more and play around with that. The high end, again, taking that in a little bit more. You might find that it'll smooth it out a little bit too much, so I don't think I'll touch the high end. And both ends, and you don't have to do this. If you're happy with the bitmap as is, then kind of leave it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I don't know, I think I'm just gonna give it just that little bit more definition. And then you can play around with things like your blur amount. So again, I'm pretty happy with where that is, but for example, we could blur it out a little bit lower. A medium blur out is going to look like that, and a high blur out, I wouldn't really recommend that particular one. So I'm just going to leave that as low. Maybe play around with that low end a little bit more. Pretty much, that's all I would probably really do with that. And then once you're happy with it, we can hit create mesh, and that will create a mesh just like that. We can shut matrix art now, and if you have a look at that, if we maybe put on the plastic shading option, oops, that's machine. Well, machine's okay. You can see here. Okay, well that's really not too bad. I'd be happy with that. And then really the next step is just to create your outer ring here. So I don't know, I'd probably grab this and let's just see if we can center that. It's a little bit better. And maybe I should have, hang on. Let's grab everything there, including the curves, just in case we want to do anything with those. What do I want? Center. Okay, and we can just switch off that layer just for the moment. And really, it's just a case of creating our circle around F4. So maybe something like that there. And you could kind of offset that by, I don't know. I guess something like that would probably be okay. Maybe not. let's just scale those out. So transform scale 2D from F4, hold down shift and kind of play around with those as best as possible. You might find that you need to kind of just take that across just a touch. Something like that there. And then you would just grab that, go into your solid menu and extrude curve straight. And I guess it would depend on what you wanted there, but I don't know, I'm kind of going to go for, say, something like that there. And that is pretty much how I would do that. Maybe fillet the edges. So we get fillet edge and say maybe 0.2. Grab our edges here just to make it a little bit more organic looking. It works for me. So yeah, that's exactly how I would do that. And as I said, if you once you milled this up, you'd obviously have to scale it to the size that you actually want it to be. But once you mill that up, I mean that'll turn out awesome. All right, I hope that helps.